Hey guys, it's DT. Welcome back to the channel. Today I have another comic book video. It's been a while since I did one of these. If you remember, a few years back, I did a video where I counted down the top 100 most valuable comic books in my collection. In that video, I said it might be interesting if in a few years we took a look at those same comic books and saw where the prices went. So here we are, 3 years later. The market has changed quite a bit since that first set of videos. So I thought it would be a good time to do a little update. So instead of making a series with all 100 books, I thought we'd just take a look at my top 25. So we're gonna see how values have gone down, maybe some have gone up through the years, and see how much money I've lost. Well, technically I haven't lost anything because in order to realize any kind of loss or gains, you have to sell, and I haven't sold anything. And later in the video, I'll go over some of my thoughts on investing in comic books and whether or not I think it's a good idea. But without further ado, let's go ahead and open this box up and see what these things are worth. We got them all in there. So I'm gonna go over these in the same order that I did in that last video. Since a lot of the values have changed, some of these books have moved up and moved down, but for the sake of comparison and simplicity, we're just gonna go in that same order. So I've been keeping a close eye on the market through the years, and I already know this is gonna be a pretty depressing video, but an important thing to remember is that as a collector, the value of a comic book is not really important until the time you sell it, or until the point where you're done buying something. As a collector, you're always wanting to add things to your collection, and the values increasing just means you're gonna have to pay more money to get what you want. So I consider any kind of dip in the market to be sort of like a sale, and hopefully we're buying at the low end and not the top end. We'll get more into investing later. Let's go ahead and check out these prices. So I'll put this over here for now. Okay, so number 25 on the list was this guy right here, The Amazing Spider-Man #4. First appearance of the Sandman, which came out in 1963. This one was graded at a 6.5, and we originally valued it at $4,500. Today, it is valued at $2,600 with a loss of $1,900. That's a loss of 42%. Like I said, this video is probably gonna be a little bit depressing. There was one graded at a 6.0 that sold in March for over $3,000, but sometimes there's an anomaly where a collector might pay an exorbitant amount for something or maybe gets a very good deal that kind of throws the values off a little bit. Okay, on to book number 24. This one is Marvel Spotlight #5. This is the first appearance of Ghost Rider from back in 1972. This one is graded at an 8.0. We had this one valued at $4,700, and today the value is $3,108 for a loss of $1,592, a 34% loss. Not looking too good for Ghost Rider either. Number 23, we have The Amazing Spider-Man #3. This is the first appearance of Doc Ock from 1963. This one comes in a 5.0, and we have this one valued at $5,500, with today's value being $3,900. A loss of $1,600. Okay, number 22 is Giant Size X-Men #1. This is the first appearance of the new team, the second full appearance of Wolverine, the first appearance of Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Thunderbird. Very important comic book for all the X-Men fans out there. You're gonna see another one of these in this top 25. This one is the 7.5 that we had valued at $5,500. Today, we have the value at $2,676. A loss of $2,824, which is a 51% loss. So as you're starting to see, things were pretty crazy a few years back with people spending a lot of money on comic books. Well, they've kind of stopped doing that. Hopefully with the introduction of the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, things do a little bit better for the X-Men, since I have a lot of X-Men. All right, coming in at number 21, we have Fantastic Four #48. This is the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. We've got a Galactus cameo on the last page. Came out in 1966. This one is a 7.5. The original value was $6,500, and the new value is $3,700. A difference of $2,800, and a 43% loss. You know, there's talk of Silver Surfer coming into the MCU, however, might not be this Silver Surfer. Number 20, we have The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 15, the first appearance of Kraven. Of course, we have an upcoming Kraven movie. We can't really depend on the movies for the long-term value of this thing, especially if the movie's not good. We'll have to see, but this one came out in 1964. It is an 8.0. This one we had valued at $6,600. Today, the value is $3,653 for a loss of $2,947. A loss of 45%. Number 19, we have Daredevil number 1. First appearance and origin of Daredevil. This one is a 6.0. That one was valued at $7,750. And today's value is $5,925. So a loss of $1,825. Daredevil's hanging in there, only 24%. Okay, number 18, we have Werewolf by Night number 32. This is the first appearance of Moon Knight. Came out in 1975, 9.4. The old value was $8,000. Today's value is only $4,200. That's a loss of $3,800, a 48% loss. So there were a lot of people talking about Moon Knight when the series was out. However, things have cooled off since then, and now he doesn't get much love. At number 17, we have Tales to Astonish, number 27. This is the first appearance of Ant-Man. Hank Pym came out in 1962. This one is graded at a 6.5. This one was also valued at $8,000. Today's value is $6,600. So Ant-Man is hanging in there, not quite as bad as Moon Knight, but we did have a loss of $1,400, a loss of 18%. So for number 15 and 16, we have the same book. It is The Incredible Hulk 181, the first full appearance of Wolverine, first cover appearance. These are both graded at an 8.5. The value on these a few years back was $8,750. Today, they're valued at $5,678. A loss of $3,072. That's a 35% loss. Still a very popular book, not quite as rare being that it's a Bronze Age book. However, Wolverine is still a very popular character in the Marvel Universe, and with him making an appearance with Deadpool soon, I think the demand for Wolverine is always going to be there. Still a good book to have. Just has seen better days. Okay, number 14, we have The Avengers number 1. This one has the origin and first appearance of the Avengers. This one came out in 1963. This is a signature series book because it is signed by Stan Lee. If you look on the back here, it's also signed by somebody else, but I think that scribble probably hurt the grade. This one was graded at a 6.0. Its original value was $9,000, and today it's valued at $7,000 for a loss of $2,000, a 22% loss. Okay, for number 13, we have Strange Tales number 110, the first appearance of Doctor Strange. This one came out in 1963, graded at a 7.0. This one we had valued at $11,000, and today's value is $5,395. A loss of $5,605. That's a 51% loss. Womp womp for Doctor Strange. For number 12, we've got another giant size X-Men number 1. This one is graded at a 9.2. It also features signatures from Dave Cockrum and Len Wein on the first page, although it hasn't been authenticated, but that's where artists and writers used to sign books back in the day. They didn't used to sign on the cover because it would affect the artwork, but now I guess they don't give a darn. So this one is graded at a 9.2. We have this one valued at $14,000, but today it is valued at $5,127. A loss of $8,873. A loss of 63%. Oh, that one hurt a little bit. I guess there was a lot of buzz around the X-Men 3 years ago, where people just went X-Men crazy. Hopefully the X-Men get a little bit of a jump start. with their introduction to the MCU. Also the X-Men 97 animated series on Disney+. Coming in at number 11, we have the Fantastic Four number 5. This is the first appearance of Dr. Doom back in 1962. This one was graded at a 4.5 with off-white pages. Originally valued at $15,000. Today it is worth $7,000, a loss of $8,000, a 53% loss. So coming in at number 10, we have Tales of Suspense number 39, the first appearance of Iron Man. This one came out in 1963, graded at a 5.0. This one was valued at $18,000. Today its value is $12,000, a loss of $6,000 or 33%. So not quite as bad as that last one. However, this is Iron Man. This is a classic right here. At number 9, we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 1. This one is signed by Stan Lee. Came out in 1963. This one's graded at a 5.0. This one was valued at $20,000. Today, it's worth $17,000 for a loss of $3,000 or 15%. Still a loss, but Spidey's still hanging in there. Coming in at number 8, we have The Incredible Hulk number 1. This one here is one of my favorite books. Of course, the first appearance and origin of the Hulk came out in 1962. This one has a grade of 4.5. We had it valued at $21,000, and today it's valued at $23,500. That is a gain of $2,500. So finally, we have a book that actually went up in value. I don't know if that's crazy collectors that have driven the price up, or maybe this one was just undervalued to begin with. That's kind of a relief to know that there is a comic book that actually increased in value over the last 3 years. And books like these are a lot harder to come by, which of course help them retain their value. For number 7, we have another classic first issue. This is the Fantastic Four number 1. The origin and first appearance of the Fantastic Four from back in 1961. This one is graded a 4.5. We had it valued at $24,000. Today, it's valued at $19,708, a loss of $4,292, which just goes to show you age can't save everybody. Okay, so for number 6, we have another copy of The Incredible Hulk number 181. This one is graded at a 9.6. We have this one valued at $33,000. Today, the value is $16,800, a loss of $16,200. That's a 49% loss. Man, I'm glad I didn't pay $33,000 for this book. So on the lighter side, a 9.8 sold for $72,000 earlier this month. That's a big difference for 0.2 of a point. Moving on to number 5, this is Journey into Mystery number 82. The first appearance of Thor. This one is also triple signed on the back by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Joe Sinnott. This one is graded at a 6.5 with off-white pages. This one came out in 1962. We had the value at $36,000. Today we have the value at $24,000, a loss of $12,000, a 33% loss, and the last sale was recorded in 2023. So things could have gone up or down since then. So number 4, we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 129. This is the first appearance of the Punisher. This one came out in 1974. It's part of the Bronze Age, but what makes this one valuable is that it's graded at a 9.8. A few years ago, this one was valued at $40,000. Today, it's only valued at $21,000, a loss of $19,000, a 48% loss. Again, glad I didn't pay that 2021 price. So coming in at number 3, we have the X-Men number 1. The origin and first appearance of the X-Men back in 1963. This one's graded at a 6.0 with off-white pages. We had it valued at $46,000. Today, the value is $14,940. That is a $31,000 loss, 67% loss. That is depressing, my friend. So I really feel bad for the person that paid $46,000 for this book. Okay, coming in at number 2, we have Amazing Fantasy number 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man back in 1962. This one is also signed by Stan Lee and was graded at a 4.0. This one was valued at $50,000. Today, it's valued at $40,000. So a loss of only $10,000. So still a very popular and valuable book, just not as valuable as it was 3 years ago. So now we're moving on to my number 1, the most valuable comic book in my collection. It is Captain America Comics number 1 from 1941. This, of course, is the origin and first appearance of Captain America and Bucky with this classic Hitler cover. This one is graded at a 2.5, the lowest graded comic book I own. We have this one valued at $90,000. Today, its value is $114,000 with a gain of $24,000. That's a gain of 27%. There was only one sale in 2023, and this month a 3.0 sold for $156,000. Finally, another gain. We had 2 books that actually had a gain. Okay guys, there you have it, the top 25 most valuable comic books in my collection. So we started at $501,550 and ended at $375,248. So we lost about 25% of that original value. So all of that is assuming that I bought at that original value and sold at today's value, which luckily is not the case. I still have everything, and I bought a lot of these comics before they skyrocketed to those 2021 prices. So luckily, I'm not in the hole. I'm probably still positive. Now, could I have made a lot of money if I sold everything at the high end and then just rebought everything today? Sure, but nobody has a crystal ball, so making those kind of choices is very hard to do. So what caused these books to decline in value so much over the last 3 years? Well, there could be a number of reasons. Probably number 1 on the list is economic conditions. The cost of living has increased significantly. People just don't have the money to spend on these kind of things. They're paying rent, mortgage payments, buying food, shelter, clothes, all those necessities, and comic books is just not one of them. Back during the pandemic, everybody was at home, and collecting was a great way to pass the time. People now are back at work, out doing things, and now that things have opened back up, collecting is just not a priority to a lot of people. Another thing, sad to say, is that collectibles is really dependent on the movies. The value of these collectibles is dependent on supply and demand. While the supply is the supply, a lot of the demand is actually created by the buzz around some of these movies and TV shows. And if people don't like what they're seeing, they're not going to be compelled to buy these expensive collectibles. So what does this mean when it comes to investing in comic books? Does it mean you shouldn't do it? Of course not. So like any investment, there are going to be ups and there are going to be downs. You just have to do your best to not buy at the highs and not sell at the lows. I know it's easier said than done. I think one of the best things to avoid is to not follow the masses blindly. If you see a lot of people going crazy, driving prices up, it's probably not the best time to buy. Like I said in my original videos, when I saw those high prices, I knew it was time to take a break. There was just too much of a frenzy, and I knew that prices were way above what they should be. I probably should have sold everything at the time, but that's really not the reason I got into collecting in the first place. It took me a long time to acquire these books. Each one has their own sentimental value, and unlike a lot of investments that actually pay you while you own them, like dividends for stocks and rents for real estate, comic books don't do that. The only thing comic books give you before you sell them is enjoyment. That value goes a long way. Sometimes it's priceless and can even overcome some of these significant losses. So that's my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned. I am planning on doing some more investment-focused videos, not only on comic books, but other collectibles as well, such as original art, statues, toys. So make sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.